Hi everyone, this is Braden here from Voiceflow, back for another Voiceflow tutorial series. And today we are going to be going over how you can use the API block paired with a Google Sheet to essentially have a miniature database that you can use for your own Alexa skills built with Voiceflow. So in this example today, we are going to have a Google Sheet here for a couple random facts. And what we're essentially going to do is pull one of these facts into our project, store it in a variable, and use it. And so why you might want to use this, for example, is it allows you to have an external sheet that you can update on the fly, which gives you a lot more flexibility with your Alexa skills rather than having to update them all the time. So let's hop right in. The first thing we're going to want to do here is pull in our speak block, and we'll set up the basic structure of our skill. So I'm going to want to go into the advanced section and pull in an API block as well, and then a final speak block. And so what we're going to do is have, I already have a variable made here for fact, so you can see that right there. And we're going to say, here's your random fact, make the API call, and then use the variable to say the fact. So I'm going to use this here. So we have fact. We'll link this up here. And then we'll link in our speak block. We'll say, here is your random fact. And it won't be random for the sake of this example, but I will do another video for a random example. So, you know what, for now, I'll just say, here's your fact. Fact of the day. So you can imagine maybe I update this Google Sheet every day. Okay, so now we want to do our API call. Now, if you are not familiar with APIs, you can essentially think of them as a way to communicate with external services. So in this example, we're going to have an API call, and that's essentially what our request is. We are requesting something to be done. And so we have, I think, 5 different requests here in Voiceflow. We are going to be using the GET request, which is essentially our Alexa skill requesting information from an external service. And in this case, it's going to be a Google Sheet. And so the URL endpoint is essentially, it's like an address. Where are we sending our request? And that's going to be the Google Sheet, and we're going to go over how we do that. And then down here is going to be the variable mapping, and that's going to be, where, so once we get the response from Google Sheet, where are we getting the information from within the response? So imagine the response is like a package. So we send a request to Google. They're going to send us back the information we want. And then within that package, we're going to want to say, where we want each thing. So let's say we get 10 different things back from Google. Where do we want each response and which variable? And that's where we're going to do the result variable mapping. But we're going to take this one step at a time. So let's dive right in. First things first, we have our Google Sheet here. I just have 3 random facts. Cats are not dogs, hamsters are not dogs, and dogs are dogs. So the first thing we're going to want to do is go into here and publish to the web. And so I've already done this, but you will just essentially want to publish the entire document and web page. It's the default setting, just hit publish, and you'll be good to go. Once you've done that, head on to our Voiceflow University tutorial, and we do have a link of change URL to JSON format. If you don't know what JSON is, you can essentially think of it like a data transfer language. And so that's going to be the package that's going back and forth. So when Google sends its response back to us after we ask for an API call, it's going to send us back a whole bunch of JSON which contains the information we want. And so before you do anything, I really suggest you get this Chrome plugin called JSON View. It's how we're going to do this whole tutorial, and it makes your life a lot easier. Normally, when Google sends you a package back, it'll look like this, and JSON View turns it into this. It's much, much more manageable. So definitely do that here, and I will put a link to JSON View in the description below for this video. Okay, so now we want to go here, and I will also put this below, and this is the link we want to put into our URL. So I'm going to copy that, paste this in here, and you'll see here there's a section for spreadsheet ID. So we're going to want to go back to our Google Sheet spreadsheet, and right here, if we double click on this, bunch of gibberish, we are going to want to copy this section. This is our spreadsheet ID. And we are going to want to put this, double click on this, where spreadsheet ID is. So just paste it right in and replace it. And if we hit enter, we'll see we get a whole bunch of JSON, but our handy Chrome plugin JSON view is going to turn it into this slightly more manageable version. Okay, so now we want to go into this URL that we just created, and we want to copy this, and this is going to be our endpoint, and we're going to want to put this into our URL endpoint. So let's expand this, and let's put this in here. Again, we are using a GET request for this. Now, just to make sure that our endpoint is working, we can hit test endpoint, and you'll see the raw. There we go. So this is just all the JSON is coming in successfully, and so that is great. So we'll close that. And now what we're going to want to do is do our result variable mapping. So first off, let's choose the variable that we want to store the response into. So in this case, it's fact. And now for object path, essentially the best way to describe this is of all this JSON, which contains all the information of the spreadsheet, where is the stuff we want? What's the path to get to it? So right here, I see our fact, hamsters are not dogs. And so I'm actually going to want to click on this, and you'll see down here, JSON view has a handy copy path, so I'm going to copy that. And you can also see in the bottom right left of my screen right now, you'll actually see that as I scroll up and down. So right in the bottom left, right there, you can actually see that all the different paths are changing. So it's a really handy way you don't even have to know how to write in JSON, a JSON path. You can just copy it right in. And so I'm going to hit JSON view, copy path, and you'll see that this is going to contain both of these things here. So I'm going to put this into here, into object path. But first, I'm always going to want to add response. So if you do not do this, it will throw an error. So I'm going to hit response, period, b.entry.title. And so just so you guys know, the dots are essentially opening up a new layer. So you can think of a JSON package like a present. It's going to have many layers from the outer wrapping to the cardboard box to the actual gift package to maybe the instructions. And so every time you add a dot, you're going down another layer. Okay, so now we want to go back here. And we will see that in this response, we are going to get type, and we're going to get $T. Okay, so what I'm going to want to do is go back here and put $T. So now we're going to test this endpoint. And you'll see that the results, there we go. So response.feed.entry1.title $T returns hamsters are not dogs, and it's storing that into the fact variable. So we can see that right there. And that's great. So that's everything we wanted. And again, I will do more advanced tutorials on JSON and paths and things like that. And there's tons of stuff online for it as well. But for the sake of this video, hopefully you could follow along. And just remember, if you have JSON view, in the bottom left, you'll see all the different paths are done for you. And then if you want to go another layer deep like I just did, you'll see that I just added $T. And again, you can see that in the bottom left. And then the last thing is always make sure you add spawn at the very beginning. Cool. Okay, so now that is done. We can hit save. So that will be stored into the fact variable, and we're going to have fact spoken. Great. So I'm going to upload to Alexa here. And I have my Alexa in the corner. So it's just uploading here. I wish I could speed this up. Okay, great. Alexa, open Braden test.
Here's your fact of the day: hamsters are not dogs.
So I probably should have added an SSML tag here, and I'll actually do that now. Break time equals, let's do 2 seconds. Oh, 2 seconds. I hope I did this correctly. So if you guys don't know, SSML tags are essentially ways to manipulate what Alexa says in her normal voice. So I just added a tag there which should pause it by 2 seconds so we can hear the response properly. You can also use the Voiceflow testing tool as well. Okay, Alexa, open Braden test.
Here's your fact of the day. Hamsters are not dogs.
There you go. So you heard we had a delay on there. We added an SSML tag. I'll do a separate video on that soon. And we've successfully hit our API response. And so if we change one more time, so this time I'll change it to, so we're hitting this one right now. So I'll say, Braden is the best person at Voiceflow, hopefully. Now it will change dynamically. So I'll say, Alexa, open Braden test.
Here's your fact of the day. Braden is the best person at Voiceflow.
Very cool. So you guys can see that you can automatically update your skills on the fly using API calls, and that's why they are so powerful. If I was doing a fact of the day and I want to come in every single day and just upload my spreadsheet, or I could even have it, it changed the API call, and I could have all my facts lined up for the week, and it just goes down and does a different one each day. It becomes incredibly powerful, being able to essentially have this external database that you guys can use. Okay. So that was a bit of a longer video, but hopefully I got everything across. As always, if you have any questions at all, you can always go into the bottom right here and you can have a support line with our team. And if we are up, we will try to help you out. All right, guys, I'll see you guys in future videos. Thanks for watching.